Hello ladies and gentlemen, Rawels Guzzi here, back again with another video for you all today. And today we will be discussing the future. Now, what exactly does the future hold for us? You know, it is currently 2024. I would say we're pretty advanced in today's technology. So the question is if we're already all the way up here, how could we go more up than that? And ignore that alarm, ladies and gentlemen. It should go off any second that we go. I apologize for that inconvenience. Everything's fine. But yeah, we're so advanced by this point, and it's just kind of the question, how can we go more than that, you know? Well, before we talk about the future, I would like to discuss the past, right? And I mean, to be fair, this could be a whole nother video on its own, but I kind of just want to give an idea of, like, I guess I'll just focus on the 2000s alone, right? Because, you know, compared to early 2000s and to now, it's obviously a big difference. For one, during the early 2000s, the internet was just getting by. It was just becoming a thing. So in the early 2000s, the internet was in a very, very beta phase. Like, it was very new, it was very beta. You know, it wasn't concrete as it is now today. You know, the same thing applies to Google, right? Like, Google is the _1 search form on the internet. And obviously you have things like Bing or Microsoft Edge, but at the end of the day, you know, everyone uses Google, and Google is clearly the most highly advanced, you know, form of a search engine. But, you know, during the early 2000s, it was like, graphics weren't necessarily, you know, at the time graphics were seen as super awesome. Like, you know, you had films, you know, like Iron Man, like the first Iron Man movie, or you had, why am I blanking when it comes to films? You know, I guess Spy Kids 3D, right? You had films like that where at the time it was like, whoa, these movies look so cool, like they're so high quality. But then in reality, it's like, well, I mean, I guess at the time they were pretty good. But then obviously, when you watch those films today, it's like, oh, well, those films are dated, you know, like compared to today's technology. The same would apply with video games, right? Like, during that time, you had PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox, the first Xbox, and the 360, N64, GameCube. You know, obviously those games were like super high graphics and definition at the time. But then, you know, today when you look at a PlayStation 5 and a Series X, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, those games are dated in a sense, you know? Because, I mean, as of today, it's like, we're so highly advanced, right? And, I mean, AI is just becoming more and more broad. Like, AI is having so many things that you kind of like, you're just impressed. You're like, whoa, is this real? You know, is this actually a thing? And it's kind of scary too, because when you consider deepfake, when you consider, you know, AI voice authentication, it can almost be scary in this sense, because obviously in this society we have good and bad people, and you just have to wonder what are these bad people going to do with AI. I mean, it honestly is scary, and you have to wonder if if our lives are going to be more secure or they're going to be more at risk of fraud and just overall damage. I mean, like someone could easily make a deep fake and put it on, like, how do I say this? Like, someone could accuse someone of doing something that they never did before with the help of deep fake and AI replication in terms of voice. And then it's like, people are going to believe that that person said that. And I mean, this is obviously more in keen with celebrities, right? Because fake news is pretty prominent, and there are still cases where people fall for fake news, or people like actually think this person did this or said this when in reality that never ever happened. And it's like I was saying, even if this person manages to get their image back, like even if they hypothetically prove that, oh, this video was fake, it was a deep fake, it was AI fake, whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, that deep fake ruined their reputation. It put a bad taste in everyone's mouths. And it's kind of like, can that bad taste get out of people's mouth, or does it linger? And then you have those people who still believe that that video was real. Like they never found out that it was fake. See what I mean? So in terms of AI and deep fake and AI voice replication, it's getting better and better and more advanced. But then you have to wonder, is it going to be moral? Like, is it going to be the right thing to do? I mean, another good example of like bad use of deepfake is movies, right? Because and even like voice acting stuff. Because you have to wonder, when an actor dies, is Hollywood going to be truly senile by never letting these actors rest in peace? So it's like what if Robert De Niro just randomly dies and Hollywood is like, well, we love him so much that we want to use his likeness forever. And because he's dead, we basically have the power to do that. Like no one can stop us. Like, I'm just saying in a hypothetical sense. So it's like, they can use any likeness of Robert De Niro, like ranging from when he looked really young, like in Taxi Driver, or when he looked, old, like in Irishman. Like they can use any variant of Robert De Niro. They can use any of his voices from like any of his ages to match, whatever they're going for. And basically, they can use Robert De Niro in pretty much anything, like star roles, side characters, and they don't have to pay him unless they reimburse his family, which they probably wouldn't. But it's also that factor as well, because even if hypothetically an actor signed their likeness to like a studio and they gave the studio permission to use their likeness for anything, it still feels it feels immoral, because it's like, this actor is no longer with us, it just feels wrong. And it's like, when you're watching a film with an actor that's completely AI generated, does it even feel real? Like, does it even feel enjoyable? Because when you're watching the film, that actor is no longer with us. So you have to wonder if it's like, you're gonna have this mentality where you're like, this doesn't sit right with me. Or, I don't feel good about this, stuff like that. It's interesting, but it's also messed up. And because, don't get me wrong, AI is really cool, and I do think artificial intelligence can improve society in many, many aspects. But when you consider the bad people in this world, it's like, yeah, that's very concerning. It just, it makes me more fearful of the future, if I'm being honest. Because then it's like you have to consider more in terms of safety than we already do, you know? Like another thing with AI as well is the education system. You know, universities, colleges, and schools are very, very scared of AI right now. Same thing with art. A lot of artists are really scared of AI because there are a lot of instances where a lot of school pieces or a lot of art pieces get counted as AI generated when in reality that was never the case, or in some cases they are AI generated, but no one ever figures out that they are AI generated. So it kind of just leaves us in this limbo where we have to basically question everything. Like we have to question, okay, is this AI generated or not? Or is this person authentic? You know, etc., etc. Because there's some there's some people that come out with art pieces and they just straight up admit, like, oh, this was AI generated. I did not create this at all. I simply put this in the AI generator and they created it for me, and that's that. But then you also have people who generally do submit, like AI art pieces, and then they claim that it's their work, and they're like, oh, I made this, which is obviously really wrong because it's so disrespectful to actual artists who put their blood and sweat into these pieces, because making art pieces is no joke. It's super, super difficult. I mean, it can require hours and hours or weeks and weeks of work. And then just for a person to put it in an AI generator and to be like, that's that, like, this is my art piece, and it's like, really? Are you really going to go that far to doing that? That is messed up. It is really, really messed up. And yeah, it just leaves the art world in shambles, because then you also have cases where an artist does create a piece, but then they get accused of AI generating, like they get accused of using an AI generator, and in some cases it's not true. That artist never used an AI generator, but then it kind of just like, it's the whole like leaving a bad taste in your mouth again, because people hear that a specific artist is using an AI generator, and even if that artist proves their innocence, it just, I mean, their image is ruined in some sense, like that's it. It's the same case with the education system, because you do have students who use AI for cheating and they get away with it. But then you also have cases where students created authentic papers with no AI whatsoever. But then you have professors coming out and saying, oh, you cheated because you used ChatGPT to write your paper because of yada, yada, yada. And then in reality, that's never the case. And I actually have a personal story with that too. Not with me, but with a friend. And this literally happened last semester. So it's currently May 2024. So it just happened in fall 2023. So my friend has submitted a scientific research paper for a science class. And they're really smart, so naturally they conducted the whole paper on their own, and they were able to to do it right, like with full-on confidence. Well, when the professor was reading the paper, I don't know if the professor used like an AI detection tool or the professor thought this on their own, but regardless, the professor accused my friend of using AI assistants. And, you know, the professor was like really, really upset with my friend because the professor had a lot of respect for my friend. So, you know, the professor just immediately was on the ball with like, oh, you used AI generation. You know, like not even considering anything else. And when my friend like presented their case to the professor didn't oblige at all. So basically, it was a really, really bad situation because one, my friend was gonna fail the assignment with a 0. Two, the professor was going to report my friend as like a cheater and, you know, try to get my friend like kicked out of the school. And then three, it's like a permanent record thing. So it was so bad that my friend had to go to the dean, basically their professor's boss, and explain the situation. And fortunately, my friend was able to win the case. And my friend was able, excuse me. Oh my God, hold on. I am so sorry. Okay. My friend was able to win the case, and my friend was able to get the score that they deserved to get on their paper, right? But my friend's situation is a very, very common trope amongst schools and colleges and universities because and it's kind of it sucks for both sides because as a professor, you know, you do have to wonder if certain papers are AI generated or not. And then as a student, it's like you have to worry about getting falsely accused of because there are cases like that where students get falsely accused of. So, you know, it's like I said, like AI is a really cool thing. Like I do think ChatGPT is really awesome. It's really intriguing. In the same case with like DALL-E E or Midjourney, where they create art pieces, because I do think some of the things they create is really awesome. It's really aesthetic. You know, it looks really, really cool. Like, you know, I saw this like Midjourney thing where like they had created like some like old school anime like art style pieces, and I just thought that was so fascinating. Like it was like the cyberpunk setting but in like an 80s anime style, and I was like, bro, that is so awesome. And then there was this other instance where Midjourney had like made the Office characters into like GTA like variants like with the GTA art style, and I just thought that was so cool. You know, like I am a fan of ChatGPT. I am a fan of deepfake in a sense. I am a fan of like AI voice. Like I just think it's all cool and it's fascinating because it just goes to show how much we've developed as a society. But then at the end of the day, a part of me feels as though there are so many wrongs with AI that it kind of overshadows the good aspects of AI. Because, like I said, a lot of falsely accusations, that's a big, big, big problem. And it's just going to get worse and worse. This is also just going to make everything a lot more stricter in terms of rules. And is that a good thing? I mean, who knows? It's kind of like the sense of like, I guess like the stealing situation in America, right? Because you have cases like Target or Walmart, where Walmart and Target are starting to lock up all their items behind like cabinets, like locked cabinets. You know, like the electronics section where all the video games are locked behind the cabinet and you have to ask an employee to open the cabinet for you to access that video game. You know, Target and Walmart, little by little, are starting to do that. And what makes it a lot worse is they're doing it with items that are like really important. So, like, for instance, feminine items. You know, feminine items are now behind that cabinet, and obviously it's really embarrassing to like have to ask for that product, you know. And even things like nail clippers or things like blow dryers or brushes, you know, all these things are getting put behind cabinets. And I mean, in a sense, you can't necessarily blame Walmart and Target for it, because obviously theft is at an extreme high in America, and either it can be because of inflation or just the overall crime system in America. Like, obviously crime is really bad in the USA, but at the end of the day, you know, everyone has to suffer at the criminal suspense. Does that make sense? So you know, like good citizens, like good abiding citizens have to deal with this shit now. Like, they have to deal with the whole cabinet situation, even if they never stole in their life. So the same thing applies to AI, where it's like artists might have to follow more strict rules now than they didn't have to before, thusly making it more complicated for them. And it's the same case with students, where students might have a way harder time now than it used to be to ensure, you know, like, that their paper's not AI generated. You see what I'm saying? I feel like this whole video was just like all AI and it had nothing to do with the future. But I mean, in a sense, artificial intelligence kind of is the future. Like that's going to be a major aspect of our lives moving forward. So what do y'all think of AI? Do y'all support it? Are y'all against it? If so, why and why not? Please leave it down in the comments below. And I will catch you all later. Thank y'all for watching this video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned for more content. Peace.